Hi, this is Ratan Gupta from Knowledge Varsity, and in this uh, session we are going to cover a FRM 2003 sample exam question, and this question is covering the finding out the spread on a credit default swap contract. So here we'll understand that how to find out the spread on this contract, and this is a quite important problem from the examination perspective. Ensure that you go through solving some 2-3 kind of this question. So what they're saying is the buyer will receive 75% of the face value of the bond. So the CDS contract, okay, and the buyer will get 75% of the face value in case of default by the company. Right? To purchase the CDS, the buyer will have to pay a CDS spread. Let's say the CDS spread is S, okay, which is a percentage of the face value. So some percentage of the face value, the CDS will be the spread will be there. So the buyer will pay CDS premium of S into FV every year, and they are saying that at the end of each year. Okay, and the risk neutral probability of default of the company is given. So probability of default is given as 5% per year. The RFR is given as 3% per year. They are saying that defaults can only occur halfway. Okay, so please note that if this is our 1 year, okay, so they are saying that the default can only happen over here, that is the mid period. Okay, and they are saying that if the default happens, then whatever the premium that is accrued, okay, that has to be paid immediately after the default, right? So the premium, if you see, S is the premium for 1 year, and if the default happens, it will be S by 2. So what we have to see is we have to consider the scenario where default occurs. So there is default occurs. Okay, so when the default occurs, what will happen is, okay, so first is the probability of default. Okay, and in that case the premium that will be paid by the buyer would be S by 2. Okay, because the default is happening at the middle, so premium is only half. So probability of default into S by 2. Okay, note that the payment will be done over here. We have to talk in terms of the present value, so we have to bring this money to the present world, right? So we have to discount at the rate. So let's say we call as discount factor of 0.5. Okay, note that D of 0.5 will be e to the power minus 0.03 into 1 by 2, right? So that would be the, so it will be your D 0.5 will be equal to e to the power minus 0.03 into 1 by 2. That will be the D of 0.5. Okay, and then if the probability of if the default does not happen, let's say 1 minus probability of default, the premium will be paid in full S, and the premium will be paid at D1. So at t equal to 1, so the discount factor will be a D1 over there, right? So what we have is, okay, we are saying that spread you will pay with probability of default only for half period. You are paying over here, so discount of 0.5. Spread you are paying fully over here, so the present value of that would be, okay, S into discounted. Note that you are paying only when the default is not happening, so this is default not. Okay, so 1 minus, so this is the total payment that you are going to make. Obviously this has to be multiplied with face value, right? Now this is the payment you are making, and how much is the payment that you are gonna receive? Okay, so you will be receiving a payment, okay, when the default happens. If you, so when the default happens, you will receive 75% of the face value, and when the default does not happen, no default case, you are not going to receive any money, right? So 75% of is the face value. So this is when the default happens. So when you will receive, so receive will be probability of default into 75%. Okay, so you will get 75% of the face value, right? And this will occur over here, this will be paid to you over here, because we are agreeing that the default will happen here, so this has to be discounted. So D of 0.5, right? Now what we need to do is we need to equate these two. So what we have is probability of default into S by 2 into D 0.5 plus 1 minus probability of default into S into D1. This is the amount of money that you are paying expected, and this should be equal to probability of default into 75% into D of 0.5. So this is what you need to equate, and you will get this S from this computation, right? So S will get, let's see, in the Excel I have done this computation. So risk free rate is 3%, probability of default is 0.05. So we have computed over here, okay, the d of 0.5. D of 0.5 is e to the power 0.03 into 0.5, and d1 is e to the power 0.03 into 1. So this is what we have computed. So d of 0.5 is known, d of 1 is known. The payment that is contingent is 75% because it is given there 75%, and CDS premium, this is the what we have to compute, which is a unknown quantity, right? So then what I have done is I have computed this item over here after taking out S common here. So we can take S common, and so we have to compute probability of default into half into d of 0.5. So we have computed probability of default, which is this, okay, into half into your discount factor. So discount factor is this one, okay, plus 1, okay, into 1 minus probability of default into the d1. So that has given me 0.9466655, and then next one I have computed is this. So that is probability of default, okay, 0.05 into 75% into your d of 0.5. So this has been computed. Now what I have to do is S will be equal to, let's say if I make it X and I make this as Y, so it will be X by Y. So it should be X by Y. So S will be equal to X by Y, that is this divided by this, right? So this has to be this is in percentage, right, because we took here the percentage and this was not. So this is 3.9%, and if you want to know the basis point, it will be 390.2 basis point. So this will be the basis point, right? So if you go over here, the answer should be your C. 390 basis point would be the answer, right? So this kind of problem is a very, very important problem. Ensure that you practice it. Okay, thank you.